Innovation is what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. Hello and good evening, everyone. Hope you all are keeping safe and healthy during this pandemic time. As per our commitment to keep you engaged and make you meet new people while sitting at home, we are back with yet again another episode of Kids Live. Today we have with us Steven and Amit. Steven comes from a Lebanese background in sales and marketing, who is diverse entrepreneur in different sectors including tech, consultancy, and brick and mortar ventures. He has worked as a successful marketing consultant for different startups and SMEs with great results, as well in having F&B businesses such as restaurants, food trucks, and rooftops. Stephen has recently also served the social innovation world by enabling them to scale and grow their businesses through investors and grants. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello, how are you guys? Thank you for hosting me today.
We are glad to have you here with us today. We also have with us Amit today. Amit is an entrepreneur and enabler in the Indian startup ecosystem for almost a decade now. He advises companies on their Indian entry strategy. He's also a TEDx speaker and works closely for some government initiatives. Welcome, Amit.
Thanks, Aditi. And thanks again, Stephen, for taking out time. Entrepreneurs are busy people. So if you're spending some time with us, we thank you for doing that. And
Thank you.
right, you are from Lebanon, right? And you are
Yes,
in
yes.
Armenia, right?
I come from a Lebanese Armenian background, and it's an honor actually to represent the Lebanese and Armenian community with you guys. So you can go on.
Great, great. So usually I ask this question to everyone who comes on this show is talk about their own journey as a kid. How was that journey now connecting with whatever you're doing? So if you can talk a little more about your journey as a kid, where did you actually spend your childhood? Was it Lebanon, Armenia, or somewhere else? And then what?
Yeah, actually, I was born in Canada, but I haven't seen anything from Canada actually. So I had quite a moving journey where I moved from country to country with my parents since I was a kid. And I moved from Canada, and then I went to Abu Dhabi, and then from Abu Dhabi I went back to Lebanon. And actually, most of the childhood that I remember was through Lebanon, through the school and everything. Like I was basically raised in Lebanon, and I was quite the rebel as a kid. I was kind of the not the quite of mysterious kid, but I was kind of the kid that would always take risks. I was always as well like the clown of the class. I always liked to make jokes. I was always in trouble all the time. And I was seeing myself as well, growing into a different aspect of taking as much as I could from schools. And that was the part of not focusing all my attention on the education, but also focusing my time on as well networking and grasping opportunities since I was a kid. So I used to take some things to school and sell things at school, like some candies, or for example, or some kind of things where people didn't have it in the market, and I would go there and sell it to people in my class or people who were in the same school as well. So it was kind of a thing that I had done since I was a kid.
Interesting. So the word which you use these days is hustler. Where you yeah. So where you use things which are around you. You keep inventing yourself, reinventing yourself. Try to do many things possible. And this is something which I also did when I did my first entrepreneurship gig when I was 16. Wanted to do something different, and that's kind of fun. That was the entrepreneurship bug for me, and that's kind of pushed us to create Kidzpreneur also. So when we look at these skills, and these skills Do you think these are natural skills or these are skills which should be inculcated in? I'm talking about the entrepreneurship skills, the hustling skills, as we say.
I think, you know, like for some people, it could be natural to have some of the traits, you know, like I think at some point it's half technical skills that you build and half that are traits which you want to build inside of yourself. So like there are some technical skills, of course, and there are some traits that you need to start building on,
Sure.
like on time. Exactly. So some of these traits which are like to have like a core mindset of an entrepreneur, it's resiliency, perseverance, discipline, sharp mind, always focused, communication and emotional intelligence, being able, you know, to empathize with people and being able to understand their problems. Curiosity, of course, was one of the things which is natural in me, and this is something that I take myself into as an entrepreneur, is because of my curiosity into going into different aspects of the life and understanding what people suffer from and how can I solve it for these people. And of course, one of the most important things, it's the ability to understand and embrace uncertainty. So how much could you take uncertainty and understand it and embrace it and not be emotional towards it? That's another thing as well. So entrepreneurs as well, they're risk takers, they're change makers as well. And that's something that was embedded in me since I was a kid as well. So I always wanted change.
Interesting.
So, those were an enlightenment to us, knowing that what skills can be inculcated and what you have, inherently. So now that we know about these skills, can you tell us how these are important in today's world?
All right, for sure. So entrepreneurship skills and traits importance has never changed, actually. Either it was in the old world or in the new world, but it actually is more important in today's world, because the role of an entrepreneur nowadays is to bring solutions to the ongoing problems of modern day society, whether we're talking about the small or the big or the big problems. So entrepreneurship provides jobs for people, which is something that is very important, and it drives change with innovation. So as you see, the world has grown more and more with problems, and just like now as well, and more uncertainties has grew. So it is the job of an entrepreneur to seek the opportunity of a problem and create or improve a solution for the benefit of different parties, and most importantly, the people suffering from the problem. So I think even if you're not an entrepreneur, you should adapt yourself slowly to some of the traits they hold, because they could benefit you in different aspects of your life. So whether it's resiliency or discipline or having a sharp mind, all these traits, all these things, even if you're an entrepreneur or not, these things are going to help you with your day-to-day actions and your day-to-day life.
So, as we now know that how important these skills are. We also understand that creativity and innovation are two important skills for being an entrepreneur. So, and we also know, like, when we teach kids these things at the younger age, they'll be more good at it. So how do you think can we inculcate these skills among the school kids or maybe the young children?
All right. So in the beginning, I'm going to tell you, like, many of these traits are very hard to build. And at some point, I'm like, me personally, I'm still growing many aspects of them, because it's very hard to see all these traits and think of a perfect entrepreneur. A perfect entrepreneur doesn't exist, because he keeps on getting challenges. At some point, your discipline can disappear. And then at some point, your focus can disappear. And you need to always keep constantly every day waking up and understanding you need to fight for these traits, and it's not something you keep inside once and then it's gone. So naturally, for going back to the question, I think kids naturally have a more active imagination than adults. So therefore, it makes them more open for creativity. The problem is that the educational systems nowadays, and in the previous and before as well in the past, are having the wrong, like, diets, if you want to say, to cultivate innovation and creativity, in which they can, but somehow they end up showing them only what society expects from them, instead of cultivating and nurturing part of the creativity that they need to see at the end of the days of the school. So nowadays, students go like to school knowing that, okay, I'm going to finish school, I'm going to go to university, and then I'm going to find a job. Nobody has the mindset that I'm going to make all these kids entrepreneurs, have their own business, create jobs for other people. It's very limited, and you can actually find that usually the ones who are rebels and the ones who make trouble in class and the ones who make all these things are the ones who actually come up to be the entrepreneurs, because they get bored of the education like that is being provided since the Industrial Revolution. And life has been changing drastically and very fast, and the education system is keeping the same curriculum all the time, and it's not changing. So let me go back to the question. So I would tell you how to inculcate innovation and creativity among young school kids. And I think if everybody watching right now could write these down for their kids, if there are any kids here that they want to understand how to enhance their creativity, I wrote a couple of points down and I will read them for you. So the first point is use the past to imagine the future. So this is one thing for kids. For example, to give ideas about what could happen if a historical event didn't happen, for example. So let's say Hurricane Katrina didn't happen, for example. What would have happened then? Or let's say Obama wasn't elected as president, what would have happened then? So let them open the minds of historical events, basically, to see how much can they imagine the future could be if this past event didn't happen. So another way to use the past to imagine the future is as well, you can take a story, like a story for a kid, like let's say Robin Hood or the three little pigs and the wolf. Like if you see the perspective is from Robin Hood, it's on Robin Hood. Let's say if you change the perspective to someone like the king who wanted to kill Robin Hood, how would the story change? So let them create and see how the story could go in their minds from a different perspective of a minor character or a major character. It doesn't matter. So number two, I think training them to understand how to solve creative problems in more than one way. So don't constrain them, even if the solutions could be wrong. Don't let them find only one solution to a problem. You know, if 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 1 is 4 as well. So let them find a different solution, let them find it, and let them go ahead and check the different solutions, and don't constrain them. Even if they're wrong, you can tell them they're wrong, let them choose another solution as well. C, and which is one of the most important for me, is actually how to explain to kids and how to let them understand risk-taking at a very young age. Because like risk-taking is major core aspect of an entrepreneur, and without risk-taking, I think like many won't dwell into the subject. So I think exercises where students can come up with multiple ideas that are not graded, but evaluated by the teacher. And then the student could take the idea he liked the most and develop it by time. So this way as well could give them a freedom of choice, a freedom of understanding what kind of risk to take in the future. So I think as well, like there is many different concepts where you can just let the brain nurture and cultivate creativity by just letting them do it. Like I gave examples right now, but there are plenty. There are many that kids can, you know, just be who they want to be as long as they're generating ideas. And one more thing is as well something that I highly recommend parents and teachers to do is to lead by example, of course. If you want your kid to read books, you should read books in front of them as well. So I don't think if you're going to watch TV all day in front of your kids, they're going to end up, you know, trying to do some ideas or create ideas. They're going to watch the TV with you. So if you want your kids to read books in front of them. let them enjoy it. And I think that's it for this question. So
I think it's the parents who can be the role models for their kids, and they can basically set a path for their kids as to how they can achieve what they have aspired for. Now that when you were telling us so many ideas how we can inculcate, all these skills among the school kids, there is a question that we've got from the audience right away. So it's, how do you think can we make grassroots changes in the way we impart these skills under our so-called education system?
sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah. How do you think we can make grassroots changes in the way we impart these skills under our so-called education system?
Uh, well, I like to come to a grassroots problem actually is kind of difficult to kind of create a big change in an educational system where the curriculum is being followed throughout many countries in the world. And at some point the change comes from the teachers, the change comes from educating teachers on how to educate kids on becoming entrepreneurs and becoming more of leaders inside this ecosystems. And I think like they should give them more of the time to give and generate ideas, like I said, than just teaching them something they don't want to learn. So if this kid is interested in art, why are they teaching them math, for example? Okay, of course it is important at some point in their life, but every curriculum of a kid should understand where this kid should belong. And I think this comes from educating teachers, from educating schools, and this is something that the educators like you, just like you guys, should be doing in this field.
That's great. So I think, the kids are going to like their time at home now, because the parents, after listening to you, are going to change some of their studying habits and their time spending habits by doing some interesting activities with them to promote creativity and innovation and other skills.
We hope
So,
so.
yeah, and moreover, at this point of time, though these times are difficult, the COVID-19 situation when we are all locked down, but this is one time when the parents are going to spend a lot of time with their kids, and they are actually getting to know their kids in a better way that they had not been able to know till now, because the kids are at home, the parents are at home, so giving them a quality time altogether. So
Yeah, of course. It's kind of a situation where they need to understand what their kid wants and where does he want to go and what ideas does he have in his mind, and how are they going to accept these ideas, and how are they going to make them develop these ideas. And this is what's important nowadays.
yes. When we are talking about like skills, every professional has different skills. A software engineer will have different skills, a teacher will have different skills, and so does an entrepreneur have different skills. So, how do you think that these skills are different and special, that they can help us fight with some problems? Maybe, say, suppose we have a COVID-19 situation at hand. So, how do entrepreneurs will fight with this situation in a different way?
All right. So, of course, without a doubt, having the skills of an entrepreneur can help you in times like COVID-19, because uh, situations like COVID-19 actually challenges an entrepreneur to test all the traits that he has built in his life for many of these years, and especially resiliency and creativity, and how to take clear decisions and how to make effective decisions without having all this blurriness around you. And I think for many, COVID-19 was a disaster. For entrepreneurs, it was an opportunity. So, and it still is. So COVID as well created markets and it destroyed markets. So how fast you could shift your focus into adapting to a new world is what makes you a good or a bad entrepreneur. So it depends on where do you see yourself in a place like this, even though you have so many businesses, or maybe you had a job, or maybe you had so many things in your mind, in your decisions and everything like that. What are you going to do if the world stayed like this? What are you going to do if the changes that matter right now are going to affect the new world and not the old one? Are you going to stay where you are, or are you going to move with the trend? This is how entrepreneurship right now is holding these skills only for this matter, because with creativity, with resiliency, you're going to be able to go through situations like COVID-19, whether you're an entrepreneur or a doctor or any kind of profession right now.
That's great. Now that we have you here with us, and we know that you are a diverse entrepreneur, being present in so many industries. So you must have had, different types of challenges in every industry. So how did you combat with them? Like, how did you face all those challenges and come up strong?
Indeed. So they are different, and that's okay as long as you know what you're investing your time in. And in my case, everything I had invested into, even though they are so different, they have something in common. And that is human interaction and empathy. And that is where my soul belongs, actually. So it's about where can I solve people's problems, and am I able to do it? And this is human interaction, and it's empathy. And this is where I put myself, and in these diverse sectors. So for the challenges, they never finish. Like, even in your normal day life, challenges will never finish. And if you think that one day your challenges will finish, then you're going to fail somewhere in the middle. So they never finish. Self-motivation and a will to stay learning every day is how I combat them, actually. And of course, as well, you need to have a team that you can rely on in whatever you do, and help each other through the failures and the victories as well.
That's great. This is a learning today that we are getting from you, that challenges never go away. It's just that you need to keep fighting and keep learning every day to keep going on in life. And the day your challenges stop, that means you're going to fail badly.
Exactly, exactly. It's the whole excitement of becoming an entrepreneur are the challenges. And are you a person that could handle the challenges and face them and go through them and go down and reach the on the bottom and then go to the top? And then it's never neutral. There is never a neutral point in a place in entrepreneurship.
Right. So, Stephen, we're talking about these challenges and the advantages or disadvantages which an entrepreneur can look at. It's the way you look at the glass, half full or half empty, uh, and always, and you've been, I think, a sales guy for a longest period of time. What has been your journey as a sales guy? Uh, and I've also been a sales guy for 15, 16 years now, and I know there are these challenges, and these bad clients who are you're not able to go through some experience which you would like to share, that this was the toughest sales call I made, and I made it through because I was there, persistent, resilient. Any example which you want to probably
As I said, like, it's all about empathy, and it's all about what value can you create for your customer. And I think this is something I naturally had since I was a kid. My father, my uncles, they all have been into sales, and they're my whole family are empaths, and we can understand people throughout what they're going through, and we can understand problems. This is something we're naturally given, and I thank God for it, of course. But we tend to understand people's problems to solve them, and grasp an opportunity out of it, and benefit all the parties. It's all about how can you cooperate and at the same time uh, make a partnership with your customer, more than just selling and pushing. And being a pushy sales is never the way. It's all about what value can you provide, what is the best offer you could provide, and how much can you empathize, and how much can you listen. It's all about listening to your customer as well, and understanding where do they want to be, what do they want to achieve, what do they want to do, and how would I help them, and how would I give them this value. And if they're going to be using me, where will they see themselves be after that point of time? So it's more about a cooperation, and it's more about the empathy, and this is where I see sales as, and And that's the only thing that I see a successful sales person to be.
Right. So any example which you think, you probably would want to share, anything which is may probably make it a funny uh, sales call or a tough sales call or probably an easy sales call. You never thought it will be so easy. Something which you remember?
Well, actually, at some point in Lebanon, I created a digital media company / agency, and at that time, my product wasn't fit for the market because at that time, we had some kind of difficulties letting the Lebanese companies and organizations understand what digital marketing actually stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And people in Lebanon at that time were actually, more into the social media marketing as a trend. Like hiring a social media agency was like a trend. Like, I have a social media agency doing this work for me. It wasn't, for generating revenue. Neither was it for generating any sales. All they did was create good content, which was graphic, like purely graphic. And Lebanese people thought at that time that graphic designing and this kind of thing is what drove them sales, which I disagreed with at that time. And my product fit at that time wasn't matching what people were going on in this market. So, I think I went to a customer at one point and I was telling them, like, are you driving any sales with your current like agency? What are the problems you are facing and stuff? And they've been telling me like, we've been hiring 3-4 agencies at the time and we never got any results. They only keep doing graphics for us and stuff. And I told them, this is the actual point, what I'm trying to tell you right now. And this is how I'm telling you that the purpose of marketing has been disrupted in the market in Lebanon. And this is somewhere where I failed. And this was one of my failures as well. Because if I had actually taken an easy approach towards what people wanted at the time, which was just graphic designing, I would have made it because I had really good graphic designers with me on my team, and I could just give a package for $70-$80 compared to the $500-$600 of my packages, which would actually more valuable for them because it was driving sales and profit. But they didn't get it. They said like, okay, I'll pay $80, but what am I getting in return? No, they're not getting anything in return. So everything has its price. And I think my failures taught me some things as well. Like even if you have the best value for a person, sometimes they never do understand. So which is something that you need to educate people on.
Agreed. I think I can completely resonate because I did the same thing 8-9 years back. I was trying to push because I was a sales guy. I said, no, why are you investing in something which is not giving you returns? And it's the same story with me. I shut down that agency because I think I probably would say I was stupid not to take that money which was coming to me and saying that likes don't matter. Facebook likes will not give you anything, but everybody was.
Exactly.
Right. There's one question for you, and this probably, let me rephrase it. It's a question on entrepreneurship mindset, but sales and the things which you are saying is connecting with people. Empathy is very important. Parents have a fear of against their kids being entrepreneur because it's obviously risky. They don't have a clear path. They will not get fixed income and all that. How do you think kids or parents should probably align and talk about this?
I think parents should actually teach their kids that from when they're young that everybody is replaceable, because adults have been dwelled into this thing where what does society expect from me, and to a point where they can't escape from it because they're in an illusion that whatever we do, we're still getting fixed income as a salary. And at the end of the day, it's still an uncertainty. You never know what could happen to the company at one point of time. You can get fired, your company can get destroyed, anything could happen. And it's an uncertainty as well. It's the same kind of uncertainty that you do as an entrepreneur and as an employee to some extent, of course. Of course, the risks on an entrepreneur are way more, but you still have like a lot of liabilities as an employee as well, and you're giving all your time to the person who is an actual entrepreneur, who actually created this business and created this job opportunity for you. So I think they should teach their kids on how everything might be uncertain, even a job, and teach them that everybody is replaceable. So they need to work on themselves from the start and understand where to position their kids at, and let them discover and get to know many things from the starting point of them understanding what a business could mean.
Interesting, interesting. And I think, that you gave me a thought of probably writing a blog for Kidzpreneur on, how everyone is irreplaceable. You are replaceable. I think that's very important for parents and kids to understand. Uh, Before we end, we're just on time. You had something to offer to, the kids and entrepreneurs out there. So if you would like to talk about that.
Of course, of course. So before going into this surprise that I wanted to give the young entrepreneurs from you guys, and of course I want to thank you for the time and for everything that you provide for kids to start learning. Uh, I want the kids to understand that they should always be on the upfront lines, understanding where they see themselves, where they position themselves as, and how are they going to develop their ideas even more and more, and how are they going to wake up every day and fight for these traits and fight for what they're doing and fight for everything that life has given them. Because we at some point we all know that life is very short, and we want to make the best out of it, and we want to give value to the people. We want to create innovations. We want to be the change makers, and we want to make it very clear and very known for the people that we are able to. And every person that has been in the entrepreneurship knows that they have a clean approach towards where people, like, towards where they want to see themselves as changing. What kind of change are they making, and what is the impact of this change? So even if you're opening a small restaurant that's like 2 by 2, you're still employing 2 people. And employing 2 people nowadays is amazing. So whether you know it, whether you do know what an entrepreneurship can give, it's always for the best benefit of society. And as a gift, and as something I want to provide value for you guys and for the students and for the kids that are watching, I want to tell 5 of your students or 5 of your teams or 5 of your startups I will give a free 30-minute consultation on roadmap strategy for their products or their services. And I would love them to text you or email you, and let me get their emails, and let them follow me on Facebook, and let them email me, or any kind of direction, so I can get on with them on the call and start working.
Great, great. I think people will jump on it. You will start getting response in the next half an hour or so. I'm definitely sure of that.
For sure. I would love to as well have this kind of benefit for your team. It's a kind of like a value which can actually put them back on track, because I know how many people are blurred around right now in this kind of chaos, and like we are here to set people's feet on fire. So let's do it.
Definitely, definitely. I think one of us will definitely reach out to you for that support as well.
For sure.
And as Amit sir also said, everybody's just gonna bounce on that offer and reach out to you, because it's really, getting some good guidance at this point of time, especially, is really important for many of us right now. So we are glad that you could, give such a good gift to our audience today. Thank you for
Of course.
joining us, Steven.
Thank you so much, and thank everybody who participated in this webinar, and thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you, Amit.
Thanks, Aditi.
Before we end today's session, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this session. These testing times under the COVID-19 situation have created a vacuum and forced us to face times that we had never dreamt of. Engaging kids has become quite an effort who are forced to stay inside their homes 24/7. This Kids Life initiative, like many others, may help you in keeping your child engaged. Stay tuned.
Thank you, everyone.